Hello, today I will be deliberating a lecture on faith, healing and law. I have divided my lecture primarily into 6 main sections. The first section will be dealing with exploring the meaning of faith. The second section will be dealing with the various types of laws, that is spiritual law, natural law or physical law. In the third section, I will try to shed light on the law of faith. The fourth section will be dealing with laws in different religions. The fifth section will deal with legal issues for alternative medicines. The last section, that is the sixth section, will be exploring the concept of faith, healing and law in this globalized world. The word faith is derived from the Latin word fides, an old French word fate. Faith implies the belief structure of the people. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, faith is defined as strong belief or trust in someone or something. Faith is confidence or trust in a person or thing, or the observance of an obligation from loyalty or fidelity to a person, promise, engagement, or a belief not based on proof, or it may refer to a particular system of religious belief. In a popular interview with James Fowler, it was seen that he developed 6 main stages of faith. They are: Stage 1, intuitive projective faith. The first stage we call intuitive projective faith. It characterizes the child of 2 to 6 or 7. It's a changing and dynamic faith. It's marked by the rise of imagination. The child doesn't have the kind of logic that makes possible or necessary the questioning of perception or fantasies. Therefore, the child's mind is religiously pregnant, as one might say. Stage 2, mythic or literal faith. The second stage we call mythic or literal stage. Here the child develops a way of dealing with the world and making meaning that now criticizes and evaluates the previous stage of imagination and fantasy. The gift of this stage is narrative. The child can now really form and retell powerful stories that grasp his or her experiences of meaning. There is a quality of literalness about this. The child is not yet ready to step outside the stories and reflect upon their meanings. The child takes symbols and myths at pretty much face value, though they may touch or move him or her at a deeper level. Stage 3, synthetic, conventional faith. There is a third stage we call synthetic or conventional faith, which typically has its rise around age 12 or 13. That simply means that we can now think about our own thinking. It's a time when a person is typically concerned about forming an identity and is deeply concerned about the evaluations and feedback from significant other people in his or her life. One of the hallmarks of this stage is that it tends to compose its images of God as extensions of interpersonal relationships. God is often experienced as friend, companion, and personal reality. Stage 4, individuative or projective faith. Stage 4 for those who develop it is a time in which the person is pushed out of or steps out of the circle of interpersonal relationships that have sustained his life to that point. Now comes the burden of reflecting upon the self as separate from the groups and the shared world that defines one's life. The transition to stage 4 can begin as early as 17, but it's usually not completed until the mid-20s and often doesn't even begin until around 20. It comes most naturally in young adulthood. Some people, however, don't make the transition until their late 30s. It becomes a more traumatic thing then because they have already built an adult life. Their relationship have to be reworked in light of the stage change. This stage is considered as a boundary to many. Stage 5, conjunctive faith. Sometime around 35 or 40 or beyond, some people undergo a change and is called conjunctive faith, which is a kind of midlife way of being in faith. What stage 4 works so hard to get clear and clean in terms of boundaries and identity, stage 5 makes more permeable and more porous. As one moves into stage 5, one begins to recognize that conscious self is not all there is of me. I have an unconscious. Much of my behavior and response to things is shaped by dimensions of self that I am not fully aware of. There is a deepened readiness for a relationship to God that includes God's mystery and unavailability and strangeness, as well as God's closeness and clarity. Stage 5 is a time when a person is also ready to look deeply into the social unconscious, that is, myths, taboos, and various religious standards. Stage 6, universalizing faith. This is the enlightenment stage, where the individual comes out of all the existing systems of faith and lives life with universal principles of compassion and love, and in service to others for upliftment, without worries and doubt. It takes place around middle or late adulthood. Let us now look into the various kinds of laws that are present in the society. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, law indicates a binding custom or practice of a community, a rule of conduct or action prescribed or formally recognized as binding or enforced by a controlling authority. Law is the general agreement of people living in a particular domain. Law binds the people together as the principles engraved in the legal charter comes in unity with the people. Each and every society is governed by certain types of laws. These laws can be physical or spiritual in nature. These kinds of laws are also called by various names, such as laws of nature, natural laws, and physical laws. The origin of these laws is not known to man. There are two different types of laws. Physical laws. A physical law or scientific law is a theoretical statement inferred from particular facts, applicable to a defined group or class of phenomena and expressible by the statement that a particular phenomenon always occurs if certain conditions be present. Physical laws are typically conclusions based on repeated scientific experiments and observations over many years, and which have become accepted universally within the scientific community. It is also known as natural laws or laws of nature. These laws are inbound in nature. It is determined by nature and so is universal in its approach. The main features of natural or physical law are that physical laws are discernible. It is consistent as there have never been repeatable, repudiating perceptions. It is universal in nature as they seem to apply all over the place in the universe. It is absolute as there is nothing in the common universe which comes to influence or change them. Lastly, it is stable as it is unaltered since initially found. Physical or natural laws are considered to be true, universal, simple, absolute, stable, omnipotent, and conservative of quantity. Examples of physical laws are the laws of motion, law of gravitation, law of aerodynamics, law of friction, law of air resistance, law of inertia, law of electricity, and so on. Spiritual laws. These laws are considered to be divine in nature, as it is for each and every living being on this earth. It is consistent and stable in nature. There are two ways to explain the term spiritual. Firstly, consisting of spirit, a spiritual substance or being, which means to transform oneself into a spiritual being. And secondly, pertaining to the intellectual and higher endowments of the mind, as influenced by the Spirit, controlled and inspired by the Divine Spirit, which means to be under the guidance, love, and affection of God, the supernatural being. In Christianity, the four spiritual laws are: God loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life. We have all sinned and are separated from God. Jesus is the only way to be forgiven of our sins and find God. We must personally receive Jesus as Savior and Lord. Therefore, these are the two main types of laws that dictate the society. Human beings are not even aware of the presence of these laws, but they are socialized in such a way that the various spiritual laws are inoculated within them, which thereby aggravates no further question. Spiritual laws rely upon the faith level of an individual in the society. Faith of the people on the earth is universal. Each and every one of us lays our faith on the very existence of our own self on this planet. Scientists entrust their faith on the notion that they will empirically find the limit of the universe as well as the inception of human beings on this earth. Similarly, spiritual beings entrust their faith on the notion that there exists some superpower who is the sole creator of the universe, and it is he who is making men to carry out all his activities. It is believed that law of faith among individuals makes him psychologically feel good and helps him or her concentrate in the work that he is focused on. It is noted by John Edmiston that among the Christians there are believed to be 12 laws of faith. They are: number 1, the law of existence. You must believe that God is, also that He is active with regard to you personally. Number 2, the law of just providence. You must believe that He rewards those who diligently seek Him. Number 3, the law of the invisible. You must be prepared to believe in things beyond the experience of your senses, in things that have never happened before in your world. Number 4, the law of the future preparation. You must believe that God is working for you and preparing things in advance for the people He loves who trust Him. Number 5, the law of endurance. You must be prepared to wait patiently until God's time and purposes are fulfilled. Faith hangs in there. Number 6, the law of assured conviction. The ability to see the mountain-sized problem as a mere acorn in God's hand, to acknowledge that you have the answer with certainty. Number 7, the law of incomplete knowledge. Abraham went out not knowing where he was going. Number 8, the law of reliance on Rema. Rumia means the utterance or the things that are said. Abraham believed God's personal Rema word to him, and it was counted to him as righteousness. Number 9, the law of heavenly ambition. Faith is directed into God's purposes and to God's ends, and cannot function properly if focused on the here and now. Faith seeks the city that is to come. Number 10, the law of possibility. All things are possible with God, even raising Isaac from the dead. Number 11, the law of renunciation. Faith operates in renouncing all that is not faith and grasping God's purposes only. Faith is uncontaminated by the courts of Pharaoh and the ambitions of this world. Number 12, the law of conquest. External in conquering Canaan, internal in resisting persecution and testifying to God. Faith does not submit to circumstances. Therefore, faith inculcates a spirit within man which helps him to achieve more in life. It helps him to cross all the hurdles and walk on the right path so that he can achieve the eternal truth. Future is unknown to all individuals. Thus, it is the law of faith which guides man throughout his life. Religious law refers to ethical and moral codes taught by religious traditions. Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights promotes that everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom, either alone or in community with others, and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. Following this line of thought, each and every religion follows their distinctive spiritual laws, which are universal in nature. Let us first focus into the Hindu code of law. Hindu law refers to the system of personal laws, that is marriage, adoption, inheritance, traditionally derived from Hindu texts and traditions that shaped the social practice of Hindu communities. In Vedic times, Hindu law was the legal system described and imagined in Dharma Shastra text. Classical Hindu law brings the realm of legal practice together with the scholastic tradition of Dharma Shastra by defining Hindu law as a usable label for myriad localized legal systems of classical and medieval India that were influenced by and in turn influenced the Dharma Shastra tradition. Such local laws never conformed completely to the ideals of Dharma Shastra, but both substantive and procedural laws of the tradition did impact the practical law, though largely indirectly. In Hinduism, Dharma refers to a wider range of human activities than law in the usual sense and includes ritual purifications, personal hygiene regimens, and modes of dress, in addition to court procedures, contract law, inheritance, and other more legal issues. In this respect, Hindu law reveals closer affinities to other religious legal systems such as Islamic law and Jewish law. Dharma concerns both religious and legal duties. there are a few principles which act as the code of law in the Dharma Shastra. Vaivahara. In Dharma Shastra, Vaivahara refers to the matters justiciable before a formal court of the king or constituted by the king. Vaivahara has two principal sections: legal procedure and the traditional 18 titles of law. Rin, that is debt; Sattva, that is property; Danda, that is threat of punishment; and Prayaschitta, that is penance, expiation. Islamic law. Islamic civilization since the time of Prophet Muhammad until now is firmly founded on the concept of rule of law. The laws of Islam are imbibed under the Sharia law of Quran. Sharia means a well-trodden path to water. It is believed as the source of life and it represents the path towards Allah, who is the originator of life on this planet. The key aspects of a Muslim's life are guided by the Sharia laws. Sharia law comes from a combination of sources including the Quran, the Muslim holy book, the Hadith, that is sayings and conducts of the Prophet Muhammad, and fatwas, the rulings of Islamic scholars. Sharia is the Islamic law, the disciples and principles that govern the behavior of a Muslim individual towards himself or herself, family, neighbors, community, city, nation, and the Muslim polity as a whole, the Ummah. Similarly, Sharia governs the interactions between communities, groups, social and economic organizations. Sharia establishes the criteria by which all social actions are classified, categorized, and administered within the overall governance of the state. Sharia first establishes the patterns believers should follow in worshipping Allah: prayers, charity, fasting, and pilgrimage. Islam's law comprises a comprehensive outlook on life. As one looks from a satellite at this planet, the Sharia conceives of the earth as a single city with diverse inhabitants. In modern parlance, a global village. Islam looks to the benefit of the society as a whole from the general perspective and presents a theoretical model that, if followed, provides safety and protection for society. Christian law. The Christians believe that Jesus Christ is the founder of this planet, and it's on the basis of his commandments that relations are governed among human beings. There are 10 commandments which is considered to be the eternal code of law by the Christian followers. Number 1, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. Number 2, you shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands to those who love me and keep my commandments. Number 3, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord you will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Number 4, remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Shabbat of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work, you, your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it. Number 5. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you. Number 6. You shall not murder. Number 7. You shall not commit adultery. Number 8. You shall not steal. Number 9. You should not bear false witness against your neighbor. Number 10. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. The founder of Buddhism is Gautama Buddha. He provided the crux for legal ideologies and provided law codes for its followers. Moral conduct for Buddhists differs according to whether it applies to the laity or to the Sangha or clergy. A lay Buddhist should cultivate good conduct by training in what are known as the 5 precepts. The 5 precepts are: number 1, to undertake the training to avoid taking the life of beings. This precept applies to all living beings, not just humans. All beings have a right to their lives, and that right should be respected. Number 2, to undertake the training to avoid taking things not given. This precept goes further than mere stealing. One should avoid taking anything unless one can be sure that is intended, that it is for you. Number 3, to undertake the training to avoid sensual misconduct. This precept is often mistranslated or misinterpreted as relating only to sexual misconduct, but it covers any overindulgence in any sensual pleasure, such as gluttony, as well as misconduct of a sexual nature. Number 4, to undertake the training to refrain from false speech, as well as avoiding lying and deceiving. This precept covers slander, as well as speech which is not beneficial to the welfare of others. Number 5, to undertake the training to abstain from substances which cause intoxication and heedlessness. This precept is a special category as it does not infer any intrinsic evil in, say, alcohol itself, but indulgence in such a substance could be the cause of breaking the other 4 precepts. On special holy days, many Buddhists, especially those following the Theravada tradition, would observe 3 additional precepts, with the strengthening of the 3rd precept to be observing strict celibacy. The additional precepts are: number 6, to abstain from taking food at inappropriate times. This would mean following the tradition of Theravadin monks and not eating from noon one day until sunrise the next. Number 7, to abstain from dancing, singing, music and entertainments, as well as refraining from the use of perfumes, ornaments and other items used to adorn or beautify the person. Again, this and the next rule, number 8, to undertake the training to abstain from using high or luxurious beds, are rules regularly adopted by members of the Sangha and are followed by the layperson on special occasions. It must also be noted that the Buddhist wheel of law, or the Dharma Chakra, is the main teachings of Lord Buddha. The 8 spokes of the wheel determine the eightfold path as prescribed by Lord Buddha. The wheel also represents that the cycle of life is never ending. It teaches and guides men to walk on the noble path and spread happiness and peace all over. Jainism law. The founder of Jainism is Vardhaman Mahavira. He was the 24th Tirthankara who preached the Jain religion all across India. Jainism is based on 3 general principles called the 3 Ratnas. They are right faith, right knowledge and right action. It is the law of karma which leads to the theory of rebirth. As per Jainism, There are 8 types of karma: regarding knowledge, regarding faith, regarding experience, regarding attachment, regarding type of life and age, regarding different physical and other attributes, regarding family, regarding obstacles in different activities of life. Therefore, it can be surmised from the above discussion that each and every religion have their own code of law. These laws are followed inherently by the followers in the society. Many of these laws are injected into the human mind through the process of socialization. Each religion, thus, has its own way of guiding its followers through its religious codes of law. Alternative medicine includes all such healing practices that a person categorizes outside the realm of conventional medicine. It includes a varied therapeutic or preventive healthcare practices which in general doesn't follow any of the accepted notions and principles of medical methods. The word alternative medicine literally means alternative to something else. This something else is mainly referred to Western medicine or allopathy or orthodox medicine. It mainly includes all forms of treatments other than allopathy. In 1973, the medical faculty of the University of Rome assembled at the First World Congress of Alternative Medicines, and the provisional program contained no less than 135 different therapies. The experts of World Health Organization have also identified and enlisted more than 100 types of practices, and they have termed this as traditional medicine. These forms of medicine are known as traditional medicine, complementary medicines, holistic medicine, and natural medicine. Most of the alternative medical systems consider the human body as a complete being comprising of physical, mental, social, and spiritual dimensions. These forms of medicine are also known as ethnomedicine, as these traditional healthcare systems are closely associated with the life and culture of the masses. Natural medicine, as these methods of treatment are based on the laws of nature and natural substances are used to treat the patients. Various regions of the world are taking up the concept of alternative medicine after recognizing its importance. India and China are the two countries where the concept of alternative medicine is thriving before the development of the modern medical systems. These alternative medicines in India and China are termed as traditional medicines, which mainly includes folk wisdom, spiritual beliefs related to a person's quick healing. People in the modern century find complementary alternative medicine as equally efficacious as the traditional medicines. For example, healing in India still acknowledges the traditional systems of Ayurveda, meditation, yoga, and etc. People in the Western countries generally mark the conventional healing systems in the Oriental regions as superstition. In spite of the criticism, it must be noted that the alternative medical systems are thriving in the modern century. World Health Organization estimated that the global market for herbal medicine as well as herbal products is worth $62 billion and would hitch up to $5 trillion by 2050. The market is growing at 7% per annum. A bill on anti-superstition started in 2003, by which illegal superstitious activities were destined to be restricted in the society. The bill was also called Jadoo Tona Andhshraddha Virodhi Bill of 2003. The various legal aspects of the alternative medicines in India are a point of concern in the further subsections. Firstly, Reiki. One of the viable healing systems that are present in the modern century is Reiki. It promotes wellness and maintains a balance throughout the body of the human beings. It creates a perfect balance among body, mind, and spirit. It is regarded as a self-care practice. The technique has originated from Japan, where hands-on technique was used for stress reduction and to promote relaxation in the human body. People who trust in the functions of Reiki maintain the belief that the universe is made up of energy, which is regarded as the life force energy. It is this energy that flows down the entire human body and nourishes the glands, cells, as well as different organs present in the human anatomy. Human beings also radiate a similar energy which leads to the creation of human energy field. People feel discomfort, stress, and illness when the human energy field is disturbed, imbalanced, or even disturbed due to certain reasons. Reiki restores the energy within the human body, thereby creating a balance among body, mind, spirit. It was in 1930 that a research was done by Dr. Harold Burr from Yale, where it was proclaimed that the human body has an energy field. Illness can be detected in this energy field first before the symptoms of the disease starts affecting the human anatomy. Thus, if the frequency of human energy field can be altered, then a person can live a healthy life. This restoration of the human energy back to its normal order later grew up as Reiki. Secondly, Ayurveda. One of the most recognized scientific culture of healing is known as Ayurveda. Though it is one of the oldest healing sciences, its development took place among the people in the medieval period. Ayurveda is the traditional Hindu science of medicine that is carried out in one form or another by 80% of the people of the Indian origin. It is regarded as the mother of all healing. Internationally, Ayurveda is recognized as the complementary and alternative medicine. The Indian Medicine Central Council Act 1970, the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940, and the rules made thereunder, the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act 1954, the Medicinal and Toilet Preparations Act, and rules affect the Ayurvedic system. Enactments from the part of the state like the Madras Medicinal Registration Act 1914, the Indian Medical Degrees Act 1916, the Travancore Cochin Medical Practitioners Act 1953, and the Kerala Ayurveda Health Centres Act 2007 has called for a national policy on Ayurveda. Thirdly, Yoga. Yoga is widely accepted as a part of healing, spirituality, and meditation. It is a philosophy of the ancient and is regarded as a practice of well-being of the individuals. It's through the practice of yoga that one can have a command over one's mind. The mind is the final source from where concentration springs. Therefore, the ability to focus and discipline the mind is the work of the yoga. There are different forms of yoga and the yogic postures which are believed to bring about healing among the individuals. Laws to protect yoga as an alternative system of medicine is still on its way to rise. But huge number of people are coming forward both nationally and internationally in order to accrue the advantages from yoga. Let us now look into the relationship of faith, healing, and law in a global picture. Faith healing is a practice that is based on the faith and belief structure of the people all over the world. Faith healing is the treatment of illness through religious belief or prayer rather than through modern biomedical practice. It is well established global phenomenon whose effect on global health initiatives in developing countries remains largely unknown. Though often dismissed by health organizations, the emergence and prevalence of faith healers in areas such as South America and East Africa has held an incomparable impact on the cultural understanding of disease and treatment. Claims that prayer, divine intervention, or the ministrations of an individual healer can cure illness have been popular throughout history. I would like to quote the words of David Stevens on the question that should faith healing be legally protected or not. He said that these laws could be used as a club by anti-religious zealots and be open to misinterpretation. Religious people pray for healing often. What if parents prayed for healing and didn't realize the child was seriously ill and needed immediate medical attention? How will delay in medical treatment due to the parents' faith or prayers be interpreted? Will parents be liable? Is it wiser to deal with these issues on a case-by-case basis versus a blanket law that could be overinterpreted to the detriment of religious freedom? In the same way, Robert Orr said that some people of faith forego standard therapeutic measures and pray for miraculous interventions. This seems incomparable in my mind to praying for one's crops to flourish without cultivating or watering seedlings. I defend the right of adults to forego standard therapy for themselves, whether based on their faith or personal values. I am very reluctant, however, to do so when an adult chooses this path for someone else, particularly a child, if the probable result will be death or disability. Thus, law against the faith healers is highly sought for so that people can be saved from the fatalities of their near and dear ones. In India, faith healing is considered to be a part of the superstitious belief of the people. People perform magic in order to bring about healing of everyone. Many a times, black magic is performed by which the disease from which one person is suffering can be transmitted to the other person through the medium of magic. This is taking place due to the ignorance and the rate of illiteracy among the people. Rather, focus in the modern 21st century is on the various alternative medical systems present in society, which strives to provide healing benefits to the people in the society. Complementary and alternative medicines are as follows, which are widely practiced in India: Ayurveda, Yoga, Reiki, Naturopathy, Chiropractic, Aromatherapy, and so on. Due to the presence of these alternative medicines in the society, people from not only India but also outside India are coming to acquire its benefits. This is giving rise to tourism based on healing. Therefore, legal enactments to safeguard the alternative medicines are on its path so that people from across the globe can accrue benefits from it. Thus, it can be concluded by saying that faith healing is not at all detrimental in nature, but people should also trust the growing developments and the constant scientific innovations in the medical field too. Faith is the belief which should be retained by individuals subjectively, but for objective cure, biomedicine should also be a trusted field in today's generation. Thank you.